Breaking news with our man on the scene. Thanks, Tom. We're going to be going over some new support to Despia, and it seems like it's tearing up some ass on the ladder, especially with that new DPE card. I'm getting word that you have a huge hog if you play this as well. So I guess that's it. I'm playing it now. And if you know what's good for you, you would too. Alright, it's Fatzoid here. We got a spicy one that actually showcases the true power of Destiny Hero, Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer, also known as DPE. Our opponent's playing swordsoul, but you know, there's going to be a lot of swordsoul players that misplay, don't know what their abilities do. And this is one of them. He increases the level of his Taie, which prevents him to going into a level 8 synchro because he increased his level to 5. So he's also playing Punk, which I thought was kind of interesting. So what we're going to do here is we're going to Lightning Storm, destroy his attack position monsters. He has his, pretty much I'm going to have to fight through because I don't have any, I don't have Super Poly or Albaz in my hand. So I'm going to have to fight through 2 more destructions because he can just keep using that effect each turn. So if you're wondering why he's not banishing, I have to have a card on the field for him to banish from field and graveyard for that effect to work. So I'm going to bring back Destiny Hero Phoenix Enforcer with its own effect. I'm going to pop it again. And this time he's going to actually be able to activate it. He's going to exile my Phoenix Enforcer. And you're wondering why I didn't fuse. There's a reason why. So I'm going to Brandon Opening, bring out Dermacharge. Then I'm going to use Brandon in red. This is all my opponent's turn. I'm going to fuse Dramaturge and Ad Libitum, which is one of the new Despia cards. And then Ad Libitum lets us get a banished card in the Banished Zone. Our fusion from the Banished Zone. So I can bring back Destiny Hero Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer. And I can bring back my Dramaturge. And honestly, Quiritus, it kind of shuts down. If he just has this card out, it shuts him down because he goes to 0 attack. It's really strong against him. And now I did this in the draw phase. So if you're wondering what just happened, I drew, I popped his card, and then I brought back Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer with his own effect. And then we're going to pass. And then since I destroyed him that turn, his effect activates on his standby phase. So I get to bring back Dasher too. So I'm going to activate this on his end phase. Just completely controlling the game. Just absolutely controlled the game. This is the strength of DPE. This is why I think it's mandatory to be running Called by the Graves and other banished spells. I actually think DD Crow is like going to be worth so much more now, which is great because it's only a super rare. And that game's over. And here we are with game 2. Again, my hand isn't that great. I have double Despia Theaters in hand. My opponent's also playing swordsoul. He has a pretty strong start going with the Moye. He's going to be able to go into Chi Zhao, which is a monster negate. And it's also a search. So he's going to be able to draw a card and search. And there we go. He searches for emergence. He's going to use emergence to grab Lang Yao, the strategist. He's going to use that card's ability to summon it, and he's either going to go into the other Sword Soul, or he's going to be, I think it's Qing Yang or Baron de Fleur. So now this is going to be tough for me to deal with because I don't have Super Poly. I don't have any of my like cards really. I have Fallen of Albaz, but you can negate it with this. So I need to bait out the cards. So I play Albur the Jester. I played Despia Theater first because I wanted to bait out this because I already have one in hand. Because I wanted to go for a Lightning Storm. But it doesn't play out exactly the way I want it. So we're going to go into Quiritus. Because this I know he has to negate. If he doesn't negate, I'm going to run him over. I'll literally just activate the ability to attack over and then do my turn afterwards. So he negates this. Corytus' effect, though, when it's destroyed, I'll be able to special summon Fallen of Albaz from my deck. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to discard the other theater, and then I can infuse this to go into Titanclad. And now, since it's unaffected by card effects, so he can't even activate anything in response, I'm just going to destroy that. And it's unaffected for the rest of the turn. It's only other monsters. But either way, he's unaffected by monster effects at least. So we go into Albert. We're going to... Look how crazy this is. Like, boom. We get him down to 1200. Now we're going to lock out the game. We're going to play Branded in red. Honestly, I'm playing this in battle phase because I was like, yeah, I'm going to get the kill right now. I'm a dumbass. Branded in red doesn't allow you to attack directly. But the good news with this card, though, is now every time he plays a card, burns him for 600 and he's at 1200. So now he can't even activate the Strategist's effect to get another 10 Synchro out, and he just locked out of the game. And honestly, we had like pure gas in hand anyway, so I wasn't too worried about it. So now we're going to be playing against not a mirror match, but our opponent is playing Despia, but they are playing the darklord version, which I do think is very good. We're going to use our Allure to get rid of Tragedy to get the search for Alibert, and then that lets us get Theater. I'm going to activate Theater to go into Masquerade Blazing Dragon. And the reason why I go into Masquerade Blazing Dragon and why I didn't set Super Poly is because I was afraid of Lightning Storm. So I set it in defense to prevent Lightning Storm from him. But I knew Theater is strong enough. It's a strong enough card where it will force my opponent to do something and get rid of it. So I didn't want to set cards to give him more value. So he's going to Super Poly me into Corytus, which is fine. I have Super Poly in hand, so I don't really care. And Albert comes back from his effect from my fusion card being destroyed or being sent to the graveyard. So Albert is dead, and in main phase 2, I bring back Masquerade Dragon with its effect. So now if Masquerade Dragon leaves the field, it gets banished. So now I'm going to play my Incredible Ecclesia. I'm going to play Branded in red now. This actually, the Branded in red, I'm pretty sure I misclicked. I didn't want to play it. I just, you know how I hit yes on everything? Because I have brain damage. That's exactly the reason why I activated Branded in red. So I get Fallen of Albaz. We go into Titanclad. Titanclad's effect's going to activate. Unfortunate thing is Albert's going to negate Titanclad. So it's actually going to go back to 2500. But he doesn't realize I have Super Poly. The writing's on the wall. I can use both their monsters to go into a Corytus. And then boom, he just absolutely smoked. Absolutely smoked on GG. Hello, it's Fatzoid here, and I want to take a second right before we do the deck profile to just say I thank you for subscribing, and if you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing because only 3% of you are subscribed to the channel, and I would really appreciate it, and it would help me out so much. And I come out with videos like this every day. And this entire week, I'm going to be doing decks based on the new cards that came out. So if you want to follow that action, please consider subscribing and turn on that notification bell. And here we go on to the deck profile. All right. So this is the deck list that we were playing the games with. And I'm going to tell you right off the bat, this is not ideal. It is pretty close to ideal. It's just I have a few cards off because I didn't have enough ultra rares to craft them, and I got really unlucky with my packs. I got two. So if I was going to edit this deck, I'm gonna have in the description below the deck list I would have played. But there really isn't much I would change on here. The only thing I would change, I'll be going Dramaturge. I'll be going down 1, and even Despia Theater, I'll be going down 1. So I can add 2 Called by the Graves. Called by the Grave, Either Called by the Grave or Nibiru, but I think Called's even more important because so many people are playing Destiny Hero DPE. So if you're playing against DPE and you do not have Called or you do not have some type of exile effect, you're gonna have a horrible time because as you've seen in game one, you can keep bringing this motherfucker back like over and over and over. It's so obnoxious. I actually think DD Crow is just got so much better in this format just because the fact he can just keep bringing cards back. And guess what? If you don't have Called, let's say you DD Crow it, like the card's so strong, he still gets a Destiny Hero monster. Like he still gets a 2100 attacker. Like it's so strong still by itself. So yeah, we run pretty much for our fusion package. If I was making any changes here, I'd obviously get rid of 500 Dragon. This is troll because I didn't have 2 Masquerades. But I'd be obviously running 2 Masquerades, and I believe I'd be running 2 Quiritus here as well. So I'll get rid of the 500 Dragon, bump this up 1, bump this up 1. Other than that, the deck's insanely good. I don't see that. I actually was looking at other lists to see what people are doing, and I don't even see anyone running Gold Sarcophagus, which is kind of fucking ridiculous because this card alone is a search engine for any of your cards. So you could go Sarcophagus, hit Tragedy. Tragedy lets you get access to Alibur, and then boom, you have your theater. You could argue to keep theater to 2, just in case your opponent destroys one. And that's pretty valid. I just think the deck could probably work fine on 1. If you wanted to keep theater at 2, I would put down Allure of Darkness to 2 then. Other than that, the deck performed insanely well. I ended up going 12-2, I think, with the deck. The only loss I had was because I just had a really horrible brick. I had it was 2 games where I bricked horribly, where I just very unlucky. I had like multiple either branded in reds with no Despian cards, like I'll have hand traps, and I just didn't draw or anything until it was too late. But other than that, the deck still does what you want it to do. This is a pretty big upgraded version, I think, from the old Despia deck that I showcased, because the old Despia deck didn't have nearly as much hand traps. I believe I was just running Ashes, and the Maxis definitely feel really good. And like I said, I would run even more hand traps than this if I had the ultra rare to craft it. So I'd be at bare minimum upgrading the deck to having 2 Called by the Graves. Well, thanks for watching. Bye!